Welcome back to the course on mobile communication and computing. In the last section, we were discussing about the introduction to the GSM, as well as we started with the different versions of GSM, GSM 900, GSM 1800, and then we discussed about GSM rails, and we discussed about what are the other features of the GSM, and we discussed about why the GSM came into the existence. Also, we started with the GSM mobile services. In that, there are three categories. The first one is bearer service, second one is the tele services, and the third one is the supplementary services. Out of the three, which we have started with the bearer services, the bearer services are the services which are related to the data services. When we talk about GSM is support for which was supporting the data rate of near about 13.4 kbps speed. Out of that, we discussed about the transparent services as well as non-transparent services. When we talk about the transparent services, so these data services which are operated only in the first or the bottom layer of ISO OSI architectures, that was in the physical layer. Again, when we talk about the non-transparent layer services which operates on the remaining second as well as the third layer, which are supports for the error correction as well as flow control. When we talk about error corrections, once if the error has been identified, and there are certain mechanisms through which the corrected or maybe the deleted or lost data will be recalculated automatically. So that all the concepts which are related to the error corrections. When we talk about the flow control, which are related to the speed of data transmission as well as the reception among the two entities. Both the devices that supposed to send as well as receive the data at the same speed, otherwise that may lead to the data loss. In that cases, what we may do is that we may place a buffer either of the devices, no, to avoid the data losses. What the buffer will do is buffer will a temporary memory that suppose if the receiving device is receiving the data which is less than the transmitting speed, in that cases the data will be stored temporarily in a buffer according to the receiving machine speed. From the buffer, the data will be delivered to the receiving device. So this is what how the flow control which was managed, right? Other than that, this the transparent bearer services, along with that, it uses the radio link protocol as well as the high level data link protocol. And so these two protocol we will discuss in the later part also, right? And also these are the specific protocol which are used for providing connectivity between the radio interfaces. When we talk about the radio interfaces, the interfaces are the connection which will established from your mobile phone to the base station. That means that the data which will be transmitted through the air medium, so that the link or interfaces which was provided by the radio link protocol, as well as the other control which is high level data link control, which again, so this integrated with the ISDN as well as PSTN, where the data will be transmitted through the high speed communication channel. So these are the supports for the high level data link control. Both these protocols, the radio link protocol as well as high level data link protocol, which supports for the error correction as well as flow control mechanisms. So these are the certain points which are related to the bearer services, how the data has been transmitted. Apart from that, the data transmission can be a full duplex as well as synchronous. So when we talk about the synchronous communication, or we all might be knowing about what is this, the full duplex communication. When you talk about a full duplex communications, where sender and receiver, both the users, they can exchange the data at any time, right? So maybe mutually they can exchange at any time, right? Even one person is, if I'm uploading something, at the same time I can receive the downloading also, uplink and then downlink, which can takes place at the same time. When we talk about the synchronous communications, both the receiver, sender and receiver, they should be online or available on the telecom services. When we talk about asynchronous communication mode, irrespective of other users, right? Maybe whether he is available in the online or not, right? And that will be delivered. Say for example, I could say that email services, irrespective of whether the person is logged in the email account or not, the mail will be delivered. So that is called asynchronous data, right? Again, when we talk about the WhatsApp communication or the synchronous, whenever you are in online, only that time the message will be delivered. In case of The WhatsApp communication, unless until you are not using the internet, you will not be able to send a message. So these are the some of the versions which are related to the bearer services. Again, one thing we're supposed to remember here in that, when we talk about GSM, and an average of the data speed will be 9 kbps to 14.2 or 13.4 kilobits per second, right? In the range of 9 to 13 or 14. Next, we'll move into the next services, which is a teleservices. And so this teleservices, which supports for both the voice and then non-voice services. In the bearer services, what we discussed so far, that we focus only on the data, which is the non-voice services. When we talk about teleservices, so these are the supports for your voice communication as well as non-voice services. When you talk about the voice services, where we can make a call, maybe a group call, maybe emergency call, or all other calls. And then the non-voice services, which related to the short message services, fax or enhanced message services, maybe the MMS, multimedia messaging services, all these services which are part of the tele services. Basically, when you talk about the teleservices, right, the GSM mainly focuses on voice-oriented teleservices. Now, how you all might be knowing about end-to-end data and end-to-end encryptions, and then node-to-node encryptions. When you talk about the GSM, right, so which supports for encrypted voice transmission, message services, and the basic data communication with the terminals, and as known from the PSTN as well as ISDN. So when we talk about normal, you may think that your normal voice which has been transmitted, I mean, which converted into the analogs, and then that is converted into digital and then electromagnetic waves. But behind all these process, encryption takes place. Even it is, see, whether it is any type of digital data, again, if the data is digital, automatically encryption will be added, because again the digital, which is comprises of zeros and ones, and we can use any one of the encryption technique to secure the data. The same key or the same type of encryption technique which is also used at the receiver end. All these techniques, encryption, which will be taken care by the telecom service provider, maybe the Airtel or the Geo, whatever uses, and they are no specialized with this encrypting your voice information as well as text information. I think you might have seen in the WhatsApp that you might, if you are checking in the security of the WhatsApp, and you will be getting a notification, or you might have read that end-to-end encryption. What it means that? Can anyone quickly write in the chat box? What is that end-to-end encryption? Any idea? What is end-to-end encryption? WhatsApp supports for end-to-end encryption. The hacker cannot, even if the hacker get the data in the middle, and he may not be able to tamper it. No idea? End-to-end encryption. We have not studied in cryptography and system security. Link-to-link encryption, end-to-end encryption. Okay. I assume that when we talk about end-to-end encryption, so both the sender and receiver know their WhatsApp or their devices, which is mutually agreed with the specific keys, right? So this your WhatsApp will automatically select the keys, and that key will be both used for only the two users. Say for example, I am sending a message to Y, say for example someone, right? And among the two users, myself and my the opposite party, right? And only these two users, I'll be using a separate keys. We'll be using a separate keys, right? When we talk about end-to-end encryption, whenever the data leaves from a mobile, that time the data is encrypted, right? That data, when it will decrypt, once if the data has been received to the destination or the intended number which I am sending, say for example, someone mobile number, only in those mobile number, when it reaches to its WhatsApp, only after that only it can be decrypted. A mutually agreed key will be selected by the WhatsApp services, and with the alpha of the key, the data which I'm going to transmit, that is going to be encrypted, right? So the other terminology which is talk about the link-to-link encryption. Say for example, whenever we are trying to send the data through the link-to-link encryption, during the communication channel, the data will be transmitted in a secured manner, link-to-link. Say for example, if, in between your sender and receiver, if there are maybe 10 routers, different routers, the data which will be secured only from one link to other link. Whenever it reaches the data again, so that will be decrypted again, that will do the encryption again. So individual networking devices will take the responsibility of the next encryptions, right? So whenever the data is reaches the router, in that location the data is vulnerable. When you talk about end-to-end encryption, from the source machine to the destination machine, there will be no intermediate transcription or intermediate encryption. At the source machine, the data will be encrypted. Only at the receiver machine, the data will be decrypted. So the WhatsApp which supports for end-to-end encryption, very similar to that. Why I am mentioning about this is that which uses, one second. Sorry, I got some official call related to the exam. Okay, so this GSM with the supports for encrypted voice transmission. So I was explaining about that. Once if your voice or analog signal, that is going to be converted into the digital signal. Now the digital signal which is going to be transmitted in the form of encrypted ones, right? Again, whenever the digital signal or the electromagnetic wave reaches to the destination or receiver, again automatically the decryption will take place, right? So for that, in the later part, we will discuss about GSM security, which is a separate topic there, and that we will be discussing about different A3, A5, A8 encryption, decryption algorithm. We'll have the separate topic for that also. Apart from that, the GSM which supports for any high quality voice transmission, no, which is used for the 3.1 kilohertz. So this is what the frequency which is used in the GSM, especially when compared with the analog signal. In the digital, you will get the more clarity related to your voice, right? Because it uses the higher frequency band, which is 3.1 kilohertz. Then, other than that, it uses some digital transistor, which is a coder and then decoder, encoding and then decoding, modem and demodem, right? That we, whatever the analog signal which we are going to transmit, that is going to be converted into the digital signal. And the very similar to that, in order to transfer with the other digital information like fax, as well as some other email and other services, all the things, all the concepts which are going to be work on the same kind of the transition, right? Coding and then decoding will be takes place. All the information, irrespective of whether it's a voice communication, SMS or email or multimedia device or multimedia information, all this information which are going to be converted into digital, and all the data which are going to be transmitted only in the form of encrypted ones. Is it clear? Other than that, when you talk about the tele services, right, another services which is called emergency number. What is meant by this emergency number? Always the emergency number which starts with what number? Emergency services number start with what number? Our emergency number start in which digit? I think you might have heard about that, the free numbers. Yes. Aaron Parker, you are right. Always the emergency number which starts at 100. This is for police helpline, 108 for ambulance, and then 1092 for child care, right? Maybe child labor, and then maybe 1008 for helpline number, toll free number. Always the number which starts from 1 are called emergency number or helpline numbers. So these, whenever if you are making any call to these numbers, it's free of cost. Say for example, in case if any, if I wanted to complain something about the fire, no, I may call to the 102 again. So that is again for the fire service number, emergency number. No, so what it will do is that it will know from your mobile, irrespective of whether you have mobile balance or not. Normally, what we do, and in order to make a call, we need to have a balance, sufficient balance. Otherwise, our call will not be connected. In case of if you wanted to make an emergency call, the number which starts from 1, so that does not require any balance or any no the amount currency to be maintained in your SIM card. So if you're dialing the emergency number, irrespective of whether you have the balance in your SIM card or not, and you will get the services, right? The same number can be used throughout the nation as well as state. Might be the emergency number, which may vary from state to state, or maybe the nationwide emergency number, maybe national disaster management, maybe depends upon that. The different agencies, they will be having your separate helpline as well as the emergency number, which always start 1. And this services is mandatory for all providers and free of charge. And if you're making if you're trying to get any emergency services number, and so that is free of cost. So this connection has also highest priority and possibly preempting other connections, and will automatically set up with the closest emergency center. What will happen, suppose if the frequency is already occupied with the more number of users, in that cases, what will happen, automatically if there are two users, they are trying to make an emergency call at the time, and if the GSM operator which knows that all the frequencies are, all the channels are occupied, automatically what it will do, and any two users, they will be disconnected automatically, and so that will make a room for this emergency services, right? So this is what this are the emergency call are high priority calls. Based on that, even if you are making any emergency call, irrespective of whether the channel is free or busy, you will get connected. Other than that, the other services which we oftenly use is called a short message services, which offers transmission of messages up to 160 characters. So this at the beginning of the semester, I was explaining about that. Even when the GSM was introduced in India, in order to get incoming also, we had to pay some money. Even I had the experience that in order to get 1 minute of incoming call, I had to pay 3.5 rupees. In order to receive the incoming message also, we had to pay that time, right? So this GSM technology is completely replaced the pager technologies. I mean, the SMS services. Initially, the people they used to have a separate pages. Very similar to that, your mobile phone, you are getting SMS. The pager is a small device. You will get a text kind of messages, beep beep beep, and you will get a message like that. Today you have a meeting at 8 a.m., meeting at 10 p.m., and your no registration has cancelled. Like that, you will get a notification through the text message. And after that, when the GSM came into the existence, GSM which came with the existence of the SMS service, right? And the basic the size of the SMS, which is up to 160. Initially, the standard SMS was 120 characters, and after that, so the other version which came, right, which is extended message services. No, again, initially it was supported only with the regional language. I mean, the national language is English. After that, no, they did so many modifications. After that, they know the text message support with the regional languages also. Again, so this along with your voice information, right? So this again, the SMS which can be transmitted using a duplex channels whenever you are making a call. At the same time, also you can make use of your internet as well as your your SMS can be transmitted, SMS can be received, right? So when compared with the short message services, when we talk about SMS, which are smaller in size, when we talk about enhanced message services, so depends upon its size, it can vary from 760 characters. So you will get two messages, part 1, part 2, part 3. If you're sending a more character, that will be divided into message 1, message 2, message 3. Along with that, the GSM which are supported for the formatted text, transmission of animated pictures. You can send the voice message, or you can send the picture message, MMS, SMS, all these things. So here this is again. So here this MMS offers the transmission of largest pictures like JA pictures, JPEG pictures, MPEG pictures, all these things. So all these are the services, are the features of the GSM when compared with the first generation technology, right? Apart from that, the GSM which supports for transmitting the fax, right? And if the fax services which can be supported by the GSM. So these are the few services which are related to the tele services. I was talking about the VRS services, that we discussed about what was the data rate of the GSM, and then we started with the tele services. When we talk about the tele services, which supports for both the voice information as well as non-voice information, which are the data we discussed about. What we discussed again, emergency services, emergency calling numbers, right? Again, we discussed about short message services, and then we discussed about the multimedia message services, and then we discussed about the GSM with support for the fax and other things. The next services, mobile services, which are related to the GSM, which we are going to discuss, is that the supplementary services. When we talk about the supplementary services, other than the normal or the standard services like call and then data, what other services which are provided by the supplement or the GSM are called supplementary services. So here the first thing which was the user identification. This is enabling the caller ID. When you talk about the user identification, whenever you are using a landline phone, you may not be know that from whom you are getting a call. Sometimes you may get a wrong number, sometimes you may get a fake call, sometimes you may get some threats. So it was very difficult to identify from which person, from which number the person is coming. After that, no, they did some modification whether you will get the dial pad number, where you will get the number will be displayed even the landline also. Again, in the GSM, the main the supplementary services is that user identification. In the display you will get the person's number, or from which number, from which location the person is calling, or you will get the complete details about the person who is making a call to you. And then the second the supplementary services is call redirections, call direction, call forwarding, redirections. What it means that in the call redirection as well as call forwarding, suppose if I can enable these features, call a redirection option. Suppose due to some situation or due to some emergencies, I am not able to be there in a place where the network is availability. Suppose if currently I am in a position where the network is available, in that cases, what I can do is that I can avail these features, call directions, call redirections, or call forwarding. Suppose if anyone is calling to me, in that cases, suppose if my mobile is not reachable, what it will do is that it will make a forward, or it will redirect to the number which I registered with the telecom operators. Suppose if I registered my dad instead of the in the call forwarding option, what it will do? Suppose if you are calling me and if my mobile is switched off, or if my mobile is not reachable, in that cases my call will be forwarded to my dad. So this is what how the features of the call forwarding as well as call redirection works. Right? Suppose at any situation, if the subscriber is not able to reach, in that cases, the call will be directly forwarded or redirected to the some alternate number which are already registered with the service providers. Apart from that, so this supports for the ISDN features, which is integrated services digital network, which is the broadband services. Apart from that, it can support for a closed users group. So this support for only the CUG number. CUG normally, if I'm getting a CUG call, maybe suppose if there is a small company where there are only 100 employees, and if all the 100 employees are they are using the CUG card, among the 100 users, or the unlimited outgoing is free, and only there are certain numbers. This number only allowed to call or make a call to only these certain groups, right? So this is called a closed user group. CUG SIM card, I think you might have heard about it. When we talk about the CUG card, so this allows to make a call only to the specific group of peoples. Other than that, this may not support. And then multi-part communications. Again, so this multi-party communications we are calling as a conference call. Okay. How many members can be connected at a time in a GSM conference call? Any guess? How many members or how many subscribers can make a conference call at a time? Any idea? I think you all might be used the conference call, group call. In GSM, how many users can be connected in a conference call? Any guess? 5? No? Any other guesses? Atif, how many subscriber can make a conference call? Have you ever tried conference call? Atik, Chaitanya also mentioned 5. No, it's the maximum count is 8, including the subscriber, right? The total count maximum you can make 8 members in a conference call. Okay, we'll move on to that. This is what I was explaining, right? These are the some of the additional features, the supplementary services, right? The first one is that conferencing, where GSM which supports for the multi-party conversations, right? Simultaneous conversation between 3 or more subscriber to set up a conference call. Normally, we'll have one-to-one call. Suppose if in emergency, if you wanted to make a multi-party call, and so this GSM as an option where you can make a conference call or group call. So max to max, it support for 8 subscriber in a call. And call waiting option. So this is again one of the important features. When we talk about, I in the beginning of the last lecture, I was asking about that. Suppose if you're trying to make a call to the landline phone, if the landline is busy with some other call, you will get a note. I mean, you will get engaged tone, right? In case of if you are using a GSM or a SIM card or GSM phone, in that cases, we can enable the call waiting options. Suppose if already I am talking on one call, and suppose if I am getting another call, so that will be notified to me. That means that during my previous call, the another call will be in a waiting. I may decide that whether I may attempt the call or not. So these features which comes under that call waiting option. So this can be depends upon the user. You may enable the option or you may disable the options. But again, the another thing is that during my first call, if I am getting the second call, I'll have an option that the call can be hold temporarily. That means that see in the analog phone, in the I could say that in the landline phone, this is not possible. Otherwise, only you should know speak to the someone, or you may in the call, or you may disconnect the call. And holding the call is not an possible in case of what the landline phones are the first generation phones, right? Again, when we talk about the call holding, again I can suppose if I feel that if I'm getting a high priority call, whatever the call which I'm currently talking, I can hold the call for a particular minute or second. I can attempt the important call. After that, I can resume with the previous call. So this is what how the GSM which supports for call hold, as well as call forwarding. I was explaining, suppose if the subscriber is not in a reachable position, again the call will be directed to someone or some other number in which where they have registered. The next option is that I can say about the call bearing services. What is meant with these call bearing services? You would have restricted with the blocking operations, call block operation. Suppose, say for example, if you decided that you don't want to get a call from any specific users, right? So here the call bearing option can be enabled. You will not be permanently, you will not be able to get a call from the number which you blocked. How many of you tried with this call blocking operations? Maybe in the WhatsApp or maybe in the normal uh, telephone, right? Maybe SIM card. You can block a specific numbers. Once if the number has been blocked, that means that you will not be able to get any call from that numbers. That is the call bearing options. That may be an incoming option or maybe the outgoing options. Apart from that, the other features are like roamings. Depends upon where you are there, and you will get, suppose GSM which supports for the roaming features. Suppose if I am there in a position in a place where if I am using Airtel SIM card, suppose I am in a place where Airtel network is not there. In that cases, I may use the services of other network automatically, right? I may suppose to pay something to the network operators, even in case of it is national roaming as well as international roaming. These are the some of the services which are related to the supplementary services. Is it clear for all of you? The topics which we covered so far. If you have any doubts, you can quickly write in the chat box. I'm happy to clarify your doubts. The next session we'll start with the GSM architectures. It requires maybe 2-3 sessions. Any other doubts? You can. Okay, transparent part. I was talking about, see, there are two things. One is a transparent part and then non-transparent part. When we talk about the transparent part, that transmission data transmitted which supports only in the layer one. I think we discussed about the different layers of OSI architectures, right? This transparent communication, asynchronous communication, which supports only in the layer one. Layer one is the physical layer, and when we talk about the non-transparent layer, which supports or which takes place in the second and third layer, which basically supports for error correction control as well as the flow control. When we talk about the error correction control and then the flow control, see, normally the data will be transmitted bit by bit in the first layer. After that, it will be converted into the packets and then the frames. It comes, right? Sorry, bits and then frames and then packets, right? So this transparent services, no, which make use of only the bits, right? So where, no, in case if any bits are error identified, only it will detect. It will not control the errors or it will not recover the last data. This happens only in the physical layer. When it comes to the second layer and the third layer, right, it uses the recovery mechanism, error correction mechanisms. In case if any mechanism, maybe the cyclic redundancy check or Hamming codes, if detects if any error occurred in the packets or any error in the frames, the last frames which can be recollected using the sending the retransmission request to the sender, and then that will be received. So this is what the basic difference between the transparent as well as the non-transparent. Along with that, the non-transparent services which supports for the flow control, where the speed will be synchronized between the sender and receiver. So these are the two key points which are related with the transparent as well as non-transparent communications. Is it clear, Chaitanya? Any other queries? I hope you all entered your attendance in the chat box. Okay, if no doubts, we'll end the session. So only thing you need to remember is that when it comes to the mobile services, there are three services. The first one is that bearer services, tele services, supplementary services. When you talk about bearer services, which are completely completely deals with the data transmissions or the datas, internet services. When it comes to the teleservices, which supports for both voice and then data, and that we discussed about how the quality call which has been established between the sender and receiver. We discussed about emergency services, we discussed about SMS, we discussed about MMS, we discussed about the fax and other related services. Again, when it comes to the supplementary services, what are the other additional features, which comes in the GSM teleservices, that is your call waiting services, maybe the SMS services, call varying services, maybe the call hold services, call forwarding, caller identifications, right? So all these things which are related to the supplementary services. Is it clear for all of you? So with this, we'll end this session. Okay. Around at 1:30, you'll have your regular schedule. I'll end the meeting. Take care. Bye bye.